Hello and welcome to CTV News across Canada for Thursday, September 25th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
10-year-old girl appeared virtually today from the Child Witness Center to recount the night she, her mother, and the accused's mother were stabbed. Dylan Moreira is on trial for second-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of aggravated assault for allegedly killing his girlfriend, who was the child's mother, and stabbing the child and his own mother in November 2022. The Crown showed court a video interview between a Waterloo Regional Police detective and the girl, who was 7 years old at the time, from her hospital bed. Her arm was heavily bandaged and she held a stuffed animal. In the video, the young girl recalls a chaotic scene involving a knife. Mom said something and Dylan just snapped. Today, the girl testified her brother hacked Moreira's computer, and that's what sparked Moreira's anger. In the video from the hospital, the girl recalls Moreira saying, "You're all dead. You're all dead. Everyone is going down." The order in which Moreira's mother, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's daughter were stabbed were not made clear in today's testimony, but the girl recalled her mother saying, "Honey, did he stab you?" She told court she was stabbed 2 times on my arm, 1 in my armpit, 1 in my leg, and 1 behind my ear. The young girl testified that as Moreira held her mother's throat with one hand and a knife in the other, "I was screaming, 'Dylan, we love you, we love you.' I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs, 'We hate you, Dylan.'" In today's testimony, the girl told court Moreira had previous physical altercations with her mother and referenced one incident involving a chair. During cross-examination, defense lawyer Stephen Gale addressed the girl. "I'm going to suggest to you that Mr. Moreira never hit your mother with a chair." "That's not true," the young girl responded. "You seem to find that amusing. Why?" said Gale, who then pointed out the girl was spinning repeatedly on her chair at the Child Witness Center. Justice Gibson asked the girl to stop and try to answer the questions. The girl signaled that she'd like a break. After a brief recess, the defense told the girl, "I'm going to say your mom's ribs were never broken and Dylan never threw a chair." "That's wrong," the girl replied. The defense also suggested the girl's mother was high on the day of the stabbings. "I'm going to suggest that your mom grabbed the knife first, and I'm going to suggest that your mom stabbed Dylan in the head." The girl denied both. Cross-examination will continue with the girl tomorrow. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Kitchener.
The Cape Breton Regional Police will be the first law enforcement to test out a new federal firearm buyback program, is being met with mixed reaction here in CBRM.
Well, honestly, it's a waste of taxpayers' money.
The head of the Port Moriam Wildlife Association is concerned that people like hunters, sports shooters, and gun collectors might be unfairly impacted by the pilot project, one that Ottawa says will run this fall in select areas of Cape Breton and collect a maximum of 200 assault-style firearms.
It's criminals. It's people that shouldn't own a firearm that have these firearms, not the law-abiding gun owners. Like, we are licensed, we are vetted.
At the Cape Breton Regional Police Service, we have the capacity and the expertise to safely collect, verify, and secure the prohibited firearms identified in our area so that the government can test the elements of this program.
Though they have had some staffing challenges in recent years, Chief Robert Walsh said yesterday in Ottawa that his force can handle the gun buyback program with no impact to frontline service delivery. Program proponents added that it's not a matter of simply confiscating people's firearms.
This program is really a way to help lawful gun owners stay in compliance with the law. We see this as giving them an opportunity to surrender what they are no longer allowed to possess.
In a news release, the federal government says that participation in the program is voluntary and that firearms owners have to submit a declaration to be considered for compensation, though they add that individual gun owners must dispose of or permanently deactivate assault-style firearms by the end of the amnesty period in October or risk criminal liability.
They were legal firearms when they got them. It's not the firearms that are causing the issues.
The pilot project is expected to begin early next month and run for 6 weeks here in Cape Breton before being expanded nationwide. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
So at 10:30, the park will be closed.
Bloodshot eyes in disbelief by those who called a heavily wooded encampment off of Bradford Street home, now picking up the pieces of their lives and taking with them what they can. Shattered shelter frames being torn down, symbolic of the lives affected by tragedy and hard times. Years of garbage and unimaginable mess left behind. As the state of emergency deepens, the goal to bring those impacted help. The city of Barrie continues to close encampments around the city, while emergency crews and outreach supports clear this encampment. Our cameras given rare access as the encampment was shut down, almost the feeling of a photo op, with residents wearing shirts representing a call of advocacy reading "Survival is not a crime." The homeless were given an opportunity before being cleared out to share their personal stories.
People don't want to help. They think we're less. We're all human beings. We all live in the same community. We all have children. We don't have children. It doesn't matter. We're humans. We need to be coming together to stop this stuff.
Bylaw officers providing notices of trespass yesterday to everyone living on the public property. Those living in the encampment not satisfied with the temporary accommodations.
They just came, handed us paper, told us, oh, there's temporary relief for you guys, temporary housing, temporary motels. It's always temporary with us. Always. When are we actually going to get full help?
After the city of Barrie declared a state of emergency more than 2 weeks ago after a double homicide in an encampment off Ann Street. Those living in this encampment arguing one bad example doesn't mean the rest of the community is the same.
Because one thing happened at a different camp, it's happening at every camp? No. We are just humans trying to live. We shouldn't be punished for somebody else's behavior. Honestly, we should be left alone.
It's pretty upsetting, not gonna lie. It would be nice if they spent a little bit of money on housing, people. We're all not so bad. Yeah, we all have our, past.
Some say the temporary shelter spaces being provided throughout Simcoe County are not good enough, yet wanting a hand up, trying to get back on their feet.
I was steadily employed, housed, took care of myself. I know how to do it.
Just need help.
I just need help getting there again.
Saying it's a difficult climb out of homelessness once you're there.
Once you're down, it's really hard to get back up. They offer some supports, and for the amount that's out there and what's provided, there's just not enough help.
According to data on the county's website, there are 737 individuals experiencing homelessness in Barrie who are outside the shelter system, including 109 children under the age of 16. Now, according to the county, there were about 18 residents living at this encampment. 7 have been moved into motels, 3 have transitioned to emergency shelter spaces, and 8 refused help. Reporting live in Barrie, I'm Luke Samard.
Crime scenes 2 minutes apart. Both houses shot at on 2 separate occasions this month. On September the 6th, bullets rang out at a home on Parole Road.
Last time I heard, I think it was 5 to 7 shots.
A home police say was targeted again overnight.
I was awake 3:38, I think the exact time was, and I heard 3 shots.
Minutes later, a house on Allison Ann Way, just a few blocks away, was also fired on.
At 3:40, I've heard 6 or 8 shots to that house.
In total, there have been 6 shootings in Vaughan in the month of September at 4 separate addresses. All are being linked and are considered, as I say, targeted.
Linked and targeted, but how exactly? Police aren't saying. However, CTV News has learned that the home on Parole Road was owned by Alexander Vinogradsky, the former owner of Paramount Towing. The 39-year-old was gunned down in March 2024 outside a plaza in Toronto following years of conflict and an arrest in relation to a deadly tow truck turf war.
There are no tow trucks in our area. There are no tow trucks in driveways. There are no people I see here from the tow truck industry. So to hear that connection and what's going on, and what's being alluded to is obviously concerning.
Police did arrest one of the suspects in this investigation, 23-year-old Kajeen Isaiah Daman of Innisfil, who was arrested shortly after shots were fired on a nearby home on Lady Angela Lane.
Perhaps the shooters themselves, they just don't care about the police, and they're not even intimidated by the police, and that's what worries me.
But the continued shooting spree is clearly upsetting area residents.
It's frightening to think about going out and what happens if one of these bullets mistakenly hits someone.
When you hear about the way that the criminal justice system and the bail system is not functioning properly, or that it tends to provide more protection for the criminals rather than the victims, and I would say even the indirect victims, like the people who live in this community who are wondering, what the heck's going on?
Police say they understand people are concerned, although they try to offer residents some reassurance today.
The homes themselves that were the targets were the only things that were struck by any gunfire. No people, no homes that were mistaken.
Meanwhile, they say they're looking for a silver SUV. The surveillance video obtained by CTV News actually shows a car backing away from the shooting scene on Farrell Road in the seconds after the shots rang out this morning. Stephen Del Duca, the city's mayor, is urging the federal government to toughen bail laws, saying we need to do more to keep criminals off the street. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding.
Discovery bought the historic Dome Mine in Mill, Hoyle Pond, and Palmore Mine in Timmins in January from Newmont. According to Discovery's president and CEO Tony McCooch, reestablishing the Dome Mine is a game changer.
We're going to transform Timmins to definitely well over 500,000 ounce a year. And then if we, the work we're doing at Hoyle Pond with that TVZ zone, I think, we're going to build a new underground gold mine over the next few years as well. So those are pretty exciting. The opportunity to come into a 100-year-old mining camp and find new discoveries, I think, is pretty exciting.
McCooch predicts a long and prosperous mining future for Timmins. He says there are billions of dollars worth of gold beneath the city's surface.
We need alignment of people and vision and people working together, and I think there's a lot of things we can do together as a group. Right. The only thing working against us is our energy. So if we all feel we want to do it, I'm sure we can accomplish it.
One business owner says he's doing his part to ensure there are skilled workers available.
We're sourcing people from over 40 different countries across the world, so from South America to the Philippines to Africa to even parts of Europe, where these individuals, for example, we do a lot of work with heavy equipment mechanics, so they're already working skilled, they're trained on Komatsu, Epiroc, Caterpillar.
McCooch says this is a good time to revitalize the community. He says the people before us gave 100 plus great years, and it's time to set the future right for the next 100 years. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Flames rose into the sky as fire raged at an industrial facility in Tillsonburg's south end. The blaze broke out around 8:30 at Marwood International Plant number 3 on Town Line Road. It's one of several sites the automotive supplier operates in the community. Nearby resident Kevin Ayers was among the first outside of the plant to notice the fire.
Flames and smoke. It was just, all you could see is flames. And the whole front of the building was all flames.
Initially, Tillsonburg crews were able to battle the fire from the inside of the plant. But within 15 minutes, they were forced to retreat and stage outside.
Staff on site had tried to control it with fire extinguishers, but it had gotten too big too quickly. They notified 911.
Firefighters from as far away as Ingersoll joined the fight, which included aerial units and upwards of 45 firefighters. Firefighters remained on scene well into the morning hours as they looked to contain the blaze. A cause has already been determined.
The crews that were there was an indication that the fire had started in a mechanical area. It was right next to where some stored product was ready for shipping. And it appears that the fire had spread to that stored product.
Any further investigation is expected to prove challenging as a portion of the building's roof caved in.
The area of origin is very unsafe and unstable, so the structure itself is highly compromised in the area of origin.
Thankfully, firefighters prevented flames from spreading to the main production area. CTV News attempted to speak to Marwood representatives in person and over the phone about the status of production and the impact on employees. We did not receive a response. Still, with damage reaching into the millions, it will be some time before full production resumes.
That doesn't include the time frame for rebuild and any lost productivity.
It was crazy. I'm just lucky and thankful that nobody was injured.
Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The Manoir Charles Dutot on Tupper Street near Atwater houses more than 160 low-income tenants over the age of 60. The group We Met says they feel unsafe. Tasks as simple as getting laundry are now considered dangerous.
We don't even go do the laundry anymore because we go in couples. The women don't want to go alone because they're there doing the laundry.
The tenants blame the homeless population and drug dealers in the neighborhood located next to Cabot Square, a situation they say that has worsened since the pandemic.
20 times a day, even more. Prostitution come in here. Drug dealers come in here.
What they want, 24-hour security at the door. Right now, there's security from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. because moving out is not an option.
You can't look for rent when rent is $2,000 a month. And my pension is $2,000 a month.
Some people around Cabot Square say there's been a lot of improvements over the year, especially with the opening of a community center. But it still doesn't solve some of the issues happening at night. Many locals admit they don't go out at night.
Not as I used to, actually. Yes, that's a problem. I'm not a specialist, but there's something that we could do.
It's safe. I mean, in the daytime, but sometimes at night, and sometimes I feel not safe.
In a statement, Montreal's housing authority, responsible for the building, says it's continuing to work to improve security after setting up committees and public meetings during this summer. We're making changes to the main door and to the emergency exit in the back, and we'll add more security cameras. There's no word on the tenants' main demand to have a security guard around the clock. Without it, they say, they remain just as fearful come nightfall. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
When I was playing rugby once, I should not have kept going because it hurt really badly and I knew I should stay out of the game.
Lucy Byrne and Kenzie Carrier know firsthand the risks of playing through a head injury.
I was tackled onto the ground, and then as I was getting up, my player was running over me. She kicked me right in the head, and I completely just fell down to the ground. I ended up diving for a ball, and I hit my head on the ground when I dove for the ball. So it was not a fun experience to have, so headaches after.
The third Wednesday of September is Rowan's Law Day, helping bring awareness to concussions in sport. It's named in honor of Rowan Stringer, an Ottawa teen who died in 2013 while trying to play through a concussion. The law mandates sports organizations to follow strict guidelines to identify injuries and to protect athletes.
Oftentimes, athletes try and push themselves to the limits, and as you can see in Rowan's case, it didn't end well, and we really want to eliminate that risk.
Wednesday, grade 12 students at St. Peter Catholic School helped spread that awareness to some of the younger students.
Our whole purpose is spreading the awareness of head safety and concussion awareness and the severity of injuries to the head, and trying to keep that dialogue of communicating with health professionals, your parents, your teachers, your coach.
A new report shows Rowan's Law has made a difference. Sports-related traumatic injuries have dropped by nearly 10%.
These injuries are life-altering. And they're very, very challenging, not for the people, just the people themselves, but the families.
When in doubt, sit them out.
The message from Rugby Ontario is clear, and now coaches, officials, and even spectators have the tools to help.
So anytime that there is a suspected head injury or concussion within the field of play, whether that be in the match or in a training environment, officials around the game, coaches, parents, spectators are now equipped with the knowledge and the resources to be able to trigger a blue card, which will ultimately remove that player from play.
For Kenzie Carrier, she's glad the rules are in place.
They ended up sort of testing me and testing my memory, testing my balance, dizziness, all of that. And then I had to sit off for the rest of the practice.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
39-year-old Tyler Seeley is back in prison. The Parole Board of Canada deciding he hasn't made changes to his life and poses a risk to society. In 2020, Seeley veered into oncoming traffic on Highway 41 and crashed into a truck. Marjorie Klassen and her husband Gord Klassen were killed. Seeley's 4-year-old daughter, riding in the back seat, broke her arms and suffered a head injury. Later that year, Seeley was convicted for impaired driving and handed a prison sentence of just over 5 years. He was granted statutory release last January. This summer, Seeley was reported at a liquor store, a violation of his release conditions. A drug test came back positive for meth and cocaine. Officers could not find Seeley at the location where he was supposed to be staying, according to the Parole Board. He was ordered to turn himself in, but didn't report to police until 2 days later. Seeley told officers he had used the drugs during a celebration of life. The parole board decided to send Seeley back behind bars. With his statutory release revoked, Seeley will remain in prison for the remainder of his sentence unless the parole board approves a new application where Seeley would need to show meaningful change and prove he's not a risk to public safety. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
In January 2024, flames ripped through this apartment building near 79 Avenue and 107th Street. A fire, investigators say, was deliberately set. 7 people were taken to hospital. A 70-year-old man didn't make it out. His body was discovered months later after family reported him missing. Edmonton police were at the building in the hours before the fire, helping another agency execute a court order on a man in a main floor suite. They say that's where the fire started. Jason Zabos was arrested shortly after. He's charged with manslaughter, 2 counts of arson with disregard for human life, disobeying a court order, obstruction, and mischief. During a contested bail hearing this afternoon, Zabos was given permission to sit next to his lawyer as she argued why he should be released. A publication ban prevents us from reporting what happened during the hearing. It lasted about an hour, with the justice ultimately deciding to deny his bail application. Zabos has been in custody since his arrest in May 2024, where he'll stay until his trial, which is scheduled to start next September. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
They were less than 2 hours from home. 36-year-old Amanda Coleman and her 3 kids were traveling north last Wednesday on Highway 9. Their vehicle then struck a semi-truck at Highway 566 and burst into flames. Amanda and 2-year-old Brooklyn were killed. 10-year-old Caden and 6-year-old Declan survived.
Caden crawled through the back seat with a broken arm and broken fingers and got helped get Declan out of the truck. So he's really a hero, and I know he doesn't feel like it right now, but he really is.
The family was driving back home to Hannah from a trip to BC.
I'm just really lucky to have got to know Amanda and Brooklyn so well and to have got to spend so much time with her because she was really just an absolute joy.
Coleman worked 2 jobs to provide for her kids, and her friend Kaylee Elliott would help babysit.
She's a single mom and works really hard, and so she went back to work when Brooklyn was 4 months old.
But a short stretch of Highway 9 has seen plenty of fatalities. In August, a 28-year-old bicycle man was killed at the Highway 564 intersection after colliding with a semi-truck. In July, a person died near Irricana, while in June, a 25-year-old also died near Bicycle.
We know that most of our fatalities are caused by usually the same thing: excessive speed, distracted driving, and impaired driving, and so forth.
But the intersection of Highways 9 and 564, just 6.5 kilometers south of where Coleman and her daughter died, has been particularly troublesome. 4 people were killed there last year in one crash.
The RCMP, we know on average we will attend about 250 fatal collisions on Alberta highways.
The province says it has identified a roundabout for the intersection. Transportation Minister Devin Dreeshen says the province is hiring an engineering consultant to move the project forward, and it will be part of capital planning for budget 2026.
We look at one thing on Highway 9, we're not going to find it.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Rocky View County.